Most people think betrayal is obvious, something big, something dramatic, something you would immediately notice, recognize. But that's not how it usually starts. It starts small. So small, you don't even notice it. You don't even realize it. And that's why it is dangerous. Because by the time you do notice something is wrong, a lot has already changed. This is what is called micro-betrayal. Not big mistakes, not errors, small shifts, repeated over time. Let's break this down in a real way. Not theory, real situations. The first one is omission. Here's what that looks like. You have a meaningful interaction with someone. A conversation that actually matters. You share something personal. You feel understood. You feel good. It stays with you. Or somebody shared something personal with you. You felt a bond. Later, your partner asks you about your day, and you say nothing much. Or you just omit mentioning it to your partner. Technically, you didn't lie, but you didn't tell the truth either, not the whole truth. And that's the shift. Because something that mattered to you was not shared with the person who should matter the most. This doesn't feel like betrayal. It feels normal. But repeat this enough times, and your partner slowly stops being part of your inner world. So, what should have happened instead? Not over explaining, not creating drama, just honesty. If something felt meaningful, it should have been acknowledged. It should have been shared. And more importantly, you should have asked yourself, why did that moment matter so much? Why did that conversation matter so much? Why is it that you want to keep it to yourself and not share? Because that question tells you where your emotional energy is going. Now let's go to the second one. Emotional redirection. This is one of the most powerful micro-betrayals. Here's the situation. Something happens in your life. Stress, anger, frustration, a small win, a small defeat, an argument, someone hurt you. Your first instinct is to tell someone, to talk about it. But it is not your partner. It is someone else. And it feels easier, faster, less complicated. Maybe something that you have shared earlier about that. So you go there. And it works. You feel better. You feel heard. You feel understood. You feel validated. And you move on. Again, nothing wrong. But here's what's actually happening. You are slowly training your mind that emotional connection exists outside your relationship. And the more you repeat that, the weaker your internal connection becomes, the connection with your partner. So, what should have been done? Simple. Pause. Before you reach outward, first reach inward. Talk to your partner. Make your partner the first point of emotional sharing, even if it feels harder, even if it doesn't feel that good. Because connection doesn't grow where it's easy. It grows where it is invested. Invest in your relationship with your partner. Now let's talk about something very common today. Digital micro-betrayals. This one is everywhere. It looks like this. Frequent messaging with one specific person. Frequent talking with one specific person. Looking forward to that conversation. Waiting to talk. Consistent likes. Regular interaction. But it's not visible. You hide it. You don't talk about it. You slightly adjust your screen. You don't hide it fully, but you don't make it open either. Each action feels harmless, but the pattern is not, because patterns create connection, also distance, secrecy. Because patterns create connection, also connection grows where attention goes. So, what should have been done? Ask one simple question. If my partner saw this fully, would I be comfortable? If the answer is no, that is your boundary. Would I be willing to share it with him or her? Would they be comfortable? Would they like it? Understand, that is where you stop. Not after things go too far. Right there. Now another powerful one. Comparison. This happens silently. You don't say it, but you feel it. Someone else feels easier to talk to. The conversations are more enjoyable, delightful, more understanding, more responsive. And slowly, your partner starts feeling less engaging, less interesting, less supportive, more bothersome, nagging. But here's the truth. You are not comparing reality. You are comparing two different contexts. One person sees you without responsibility. The other shares life with you. And responsibility always feels heavier than ease. So, what should have been done? Catch the comparison early and correct the perspective. Instead of asking who feels better, ask where am I investing less or where am I investing more? Because relationships don't become less fulfilling on their own. They reflect where attention is being reduced and where attention is increasing. Let's look at another one. Selective attention. This one is simple but powerful. You are physically present with your partner, but mentally you are somewhere else, checking your phone, waiting for a message, thinking about another interaction, past or future. You like it. You anticipate. This happens once, twice. A stressful day, a stressful conversation. See, you reach out to them for a light conversation, a light moment. This happens again, twice, many times, and each time you are sending a signal. This moment, they are the priority. Your partner is not. And over time, your partner feels that, even if nothing is said. So, what should have been done? Intentional presence. Not all the time, but consciously. Put the phone away. Engage fully. Because attention is just not time. Attention is just not sitting in the same room. Attention is not watching television together. It is emotional availability, emotional dependability, emotional sharing with complete attention. And here's another important one: unaddressed disconnection. Your partner expresses something, a concern, a feeling, a need, and you don't respond fully. You just hear. You just hear, but not understand. Maybe you are tired. Maybe you are distracted. Maybe you think it's small, mundane, everyday. So you move on. But they don't. Because for them, that moment mattered. And when it keeps happening, they stop trying. And when they stop trying, they start looking elsewhere. Not immediately, but eventually. So, what should have been done? Recognize these moments as critical. Even if you can't respond immediately, acknowledge them. Come back to them. Show that it matters. Because connection is built in these exact moments. Now let's talk about another factor: justification. This is what keeps all of this going. Rationalization. You tell yourself, it's not a big deal. It's just a conversation. Just friends. It doesn't mean anything. I did nothing wrong. I am doing nothing wrong. There was nothing wrong. And that feels true. Because you are measuring behavior based on extremes. But relationships don't break at extremes. They shift in patterns, small shifts. So, what should have been done? Change the question. Not, is this wrong? But, is this moving me close to my partner or further away? That one question changes everything. Because it focuses on direction. And direction determines outcome. Here's the reality most people miss. None of these things felt serious in the moment. That is why they are ignored. But over time they accumulate. And slowly something changes. You feel less connected, less open, less engaged. Contacts, conversations become mechanical. And you don't know why. Because there was no big event, just very many small ones that went unnoticed. So, what is the solution? Not perfection, awareness. Notice the small shifts. Where you are investing emotionally, what you are choosing to share, what you are choosing to hide, where your attention goes, and most importantly, correct early. Because small corrections are easy, but big repairs are hard. So don't wait for something obvious. Don't wait for damage. Pay attention to the small things. Because that's where everything begins. Not with betrayal, but with these micro-betrayals. And the moment you start noticing them is the moment you take control back. Because relationships don't fall apart suddenly, they drift. And awareness is what stops that drift. Before it becomes distance, before it becomes disconnection, before it becomes something you didn't intend. And that's the difference between reacting too late and choosing early.